Most disturbing weigh-ins in recent memory involve bantamweight prospect Aspen Ladd.
Oh, she is. Boy, she is twerking on the stage.
To face former champ Jermaine Durandamy.
What's good, Draco Nation? It's your boy back with another reaction video, man. This is to the top 10 most disturbing weight cuts. Listen, y'all. I like UFC, but this part of UFC is the most honestly, the UFC fighters always explain weight cutting is literally the fight before the fight. I swear. Imagine having to drop like 50, 60 pounds in a time window. Like, that gotta be so stressful on the body and on the mind. So this is the top 10 worst of those weight cuts. We gonna react to it. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more banger reactions. Let's get straight into it.
Nemesis for some fighters. In truth, there have been several athletes who appear to be in more danger on the scale.
Damn, she look like she about to cry on that motherfucker.
So for this video, we'll be taking a look at a list of times in which a certain fighter seriously struggled with their battle on the scales. As always,
some of these niggas look.
Video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like.
No wonder Khan ain't fighting featherweight no more. That shit looks terrible.
In no particular order, let's take a look at 10 highly disturbing UFC weigh-ins. Number 10, Conor McGregor, UFC Fight Night 59. Conor McGregor is the biggest name in mixed martial arts, and one of the most successful combat sports athletes of all time. That said, even the Irishman has struggled with weight at various points in his career, particularly during his time at featherweight.
That shit looks terrible, boy. You look like a skeleton up that bitch.
Getting down to 145 pounds was never easy for the notorious one. At UFC Fight Night 59, McGregor was scheduled to face German kickboxer and UFC veteran Dennis Siver. To prove that he could make championship weight, McGregor decided to strip the additional pounds allotted for non-title fights and tip the scales at an even 145. While the future two-division champ made weight, he looked visibly depleted while standing on the
It looked
scale.
like he ain't drink water in a month. He looked like a completely different person.
During a pre-fight interview where the Irishman's face was barely recognizable.
Literally, he looked like a whole different person.
As McGregor put Siver away with relative ease, winning the fight via a second-round TKO. Number 9. Yoel Romero.
I know he probably hated going. He probably never fight at 145 ever again.
Struggles with weight is former Olympic wrestler Yoel Romero. In fact, his inability to make weight quite literally cost him the interim UFC middleweight championship. At UFC 221, Romero knocked out Luke Rockhold in the third round of their fights. However, since Romero was
look, like that sucks.
As they headed into the contest, he wasn't awarded the interim strap.
Just because he couldn't get that weight, he couldn't even get the championship, even though he won the fight. That shit sucks.
The Soldier of God's battle with the scale continued. When at the UFC 225 weigh-in, we saw a visibly exhausted Romero struggle to even get onto the scale. Unfortunately, after 2 attempts, he once again failed to make the 185-pound mark, which ended any possibility of winning the title the following day. To make matters worse, Romero even struggled to walk out without the aid of his coaches.
I know, that's Jesus Christ. Imagine losing all that weight and then your body just fail on you to where you can't even walk. Like, that's just terrible. I would never, bro. It's no way.
Cynthia Calvillo, UFC Argentina. San Jose's Cynthia Calvillo is a star on the rise in the UFC women's division, with the 33-year-old currently sporting an impressive 9-1-1 record. That said, making weight has admittedly been a struggle throughout her career. The talented grappler's issues with weight were on full display leading up to her Fight Night bout in 2018. During the weigh-ins, a weary Cynthia when she nearly fell off the scales and appeared to have trouble keeping
she can't even stand up on the block.
Missing weight by 2 pounds, and as a result, be forced to forfeit 20% of her purse. While she may have looked terrible on the scales, she still managed to submit her opponent in the very first round. Following a second failed weight cut at UFC on ESPN 7, she decided to move up to the flyweight division, where she recently defeated the top contender in Jessica Eye.
See, why is that a problem? Like, honestly, I think the only difference between a weight class is probably light heavyweight to heavyweight. Because them niggas, the max is like 265, and then you coming from 205 pounds. So I can see that difference. But any of the other ones like a 10-pound difference. I'm not dying for 10 pounds. I'd rather get knocked out going up in weight. No way.
Daniel Cormier, UFC 200. Daniel
I remember this. I remember the towel hold. I remember the towel hold.
The Louisiana product has struggled to make the light heavyweight limit from time to time. Of course, there was the infamous towel incident in which many consider Cormier to have bent the rules in order to make weight. However, there was also the weigh-ins prior to UFC 200 in which DC looked severely depleted.
Yeah, he looked crazy. Like, now he's a heavyweight, you can clearly see a difference. This man looked like...
It appeared to be especially true in this case. The weight cut may have been tough, but the fight with Silva was anything but. DC used his wrestling skills to smother his opponent en route to earning a unanimous decision victory.
That's just probably tough. And he's probably a natural heavyweight too. No way.
Florian is a former UFC title challenger who has competed in 4 different weight classes during his time with the UFC. Following his debut at middleweight, the former Ultimate Fighter contestant made a brief stop at welterweight before settling in at lightweight. The 4th degree black belt enjoyed a great deal of success as a lightweight and unsuccessfully challenged for the title on 2 separate occasions. In a last-ditch effort to finally capture some UFC gold, Kenflo decided to move down to the featherweight division.
God damn, bro. You ever seen Hollow Man, bro? That's what he looked like. That shit looked crazy.
Florian admitted the drop to featherweight was tough. Still, when it came time to face Jose Aldo for the title, he did in fact successfully make championship weight. That said, the now-retired star looked a shell of the man that fans had been accustomed to seeing when he stepped on the scale. Unfortunately for Florian, the 3rd time wasn't the charm in regards to capturing UFC gold. As Aldo,
bro, I know it's probably hard as hell and then you gotta go fight the very next day. No way. Nah, dude. No.
One of the most disturbing weigh-ins in recent memory involved bantamweight prospect Aspen Ladd.
Oh, she is twerking on the stage.
To face former champ Jermaine Durandamy. However, following the weigh-ins, many pundits wondered if Ladd could or even should make the walk to the cage. When Ladd stepped on the scales, she was clearly in pain, and it appeared as though she may pass out at any moment. Amazingly, the up-and-comer still managed to make weight and compete.
Just go up and wait.
Was left trembling as she struggled to
look, she's twerking on the stage.
While it's unclear how much the cut affected her performance, Ladd would lose the first fight of
it affected her. Her ass couldn't stand up straight.
The 24-year-old's license was suspended by the California State Athletic Commission. The suspension was due to the fact that Ladd had gained a whopping 18% of her body weight between weigh-ins and the day of number 4.
Damn! She gained 80% of her body weight back literally a day before. A day after. Like, that's insane.
Former champ Jose Aldo had never missed weight. And since moving down to bantamweight, Aldo has continued to make weight successfully. That said, the Brazilian came very close and even gave onlookers a bit of a scare leading up to his UFC 218 showdown with Max Holloway. Roughly 36 hours out from his fight with Max Holloway, Aldo stepped up to the scales looking sicklier than ever. After initially missing weight by a pound, a distraught Aldo literally laid his head on the scale and appeared to be in visible pain. However, after taking a moment to recover, the 2-time title holder gave it another try and stepped back onto the scale. The second time around, he weighed in at 145 and thus was able to compete for Holloway's featherweight strap. Unfortunately,
wait a minute.
Aldo would end up losing.
How do you miss the weight by a pound? And then 2 minutes later, you hop back on it, and then a pound is gone. Like, bro, what? Did I hear that right? Like, I had to hear that right. What the fuck?
Max Holloway, UFC 218. Interestingly enough, Aldo's UFC 218 opponent, Max Bless Holloway, didn't look much better during their pre-fight weigh-in. Prior to setting foot on the scale, Max Holloway needed to strip his clothes and bring out the towel.
Bro really does look like a goddamn...
In fact, one of the men holding the towel, who happened to be Justin Gaethje, even nearly caused a wardrobe malfunction. Fortunately, at the end of the day, there were no wardrobe malfunctions, and Holloway would end up weighing in at the featherweight title limit of 145 pounds.
Boy, you look like 110 pounds.
To cut several pounds in water weight, it was painfully obvious for everyone watching that Max was far more dehydrated than he should have been. As for the contest, as mentioned previously, the Hawaiian would end up scoring a TKO victory over Aldo in the 3rd round.
Damn, y'all both had terrible weight cuts. See, y'all gotta fight each other.
The Motown phenom Kevin Lee is a fighter who has struggled with weight throughout his MMA career. In fact, he's missed weight a total of 4 times since his professional debut back in 2012.
Damn, you lucky, because your ass, nowadays, you probably be done. Look at this scale. Hold on, bro. Why the fuck did you just look at this scale like that, like he was wrong? No, the numbers ain't lying, bro. Look. Bro, he looking at that bitch like, what's wrong with you? Oh my goodness.
He missed out on the opportunity to compete for the gold. After missing weight by a pound the first go around, and looking as though he was about to pass out on the scale, he was given the additional time to address the issue. On his
That's
second
crazy.
try, a sick-looking Kevin Lee tipped the scale at an even 155 pounds, and was thus eligible to win the title. Of course, his opponent Tony Ferguson ended Lee's championship hopes by securing a triangle choke submission in round 3. Number 1. Johnny Hendricks, UFC 200.
Damn, shout out to Johnny Hendricks. He was on a roll at one point, and he just,
who briefly held the UFC welterweight title.
like, he had it all. Like, he was the man, right? And he just fell off.
Career, the former NCAA Division I wrestler just couldn't seem to make weight consistently. In total,
He's shaking up there already.
3 of his last 5 professional bouts. Even after moving up to middleweight, the former champ still couldn't get it done on the scales, and was 3 pounds heavy for his showdown.
Damn, the scale.
However,
That bitch said,
UFC 200
you was way too heavy.
Stood out amongst fans. At the weigh-ins leading up to the event, Hendricks' hands began shaking uncontrollably prior to stepping onto the scale, which made for a disturbing sight to say the least. Even after removing his undergarments, the depleted former welterweight king was still a quarter of a pound over the welterweight threshold. After forfeiting 20% of his earnings, Hendricks would ultimately lose his UFC 200 fight with Kelvin Gastelum via a unanimous decision. As always, if you guys
That gotta suck.
please be sure to let me know.
Listen, y'all. That shit. I'm pretty sure that's the hardest part of being in the UFC, is getting that weight off you by a certain amount of time. Like, that's really hard. Because the second part you gotta do is go in there and do what you've been training to do. It's fight. But you don't train yourself to lose all that weight at a certain amount of time. You just gotta do it. So, y'all, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more banger reactions. I'll see y'all in the next video, y'all. Peace.